For web programming, you have theory as well as the lab sessions. The subject is very simple. You have HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. So these programming language will be working on these programming languages, and you will be having the lab session for this. So basically, we are going to understand in this before we start actually what is the web programming and how to write this all. We need to know about the basic concept of internet and so on. And then we are going to understand why this web programming is required. Usually it was introduced for them for super seniors, if you consider, it is there in the 6th semester. So they already learned the internet and data communication. They are learned the data communication as well as the advanced computer networks, and then they are learning the web programming. But there is no hard and fast rule that you should be knowing more about the internet and then you can learn about this. It is not true. So web programming, you can learn it very easily. So from this, you can see that whenever we say a web programming or a web program or a web application, it includes a lot of things. Like we have the different technologies, that we have the HTML, that is hypertext markup language. Then we have something called as CSS, cascading style sheet. Then we have something called as JS, that is called as JavaScript. And then we have the XML, okay, extensible markup language. So a web program or whenever see web technology, it includes different technologies. So it is a combination of many technologies or many programming languages, you can say, or we can say scripting languages. So in today's class, we have to discuss about the basic things and the syllabus part that we are going to study, and then we're going to go ahead with the basic introduction of this web programming. Fine. So let us go ahead with the syllabus. So basically you have 5 units in this, and each unit is of 12 hours each. So in the starting units, we'll be concentrating more on the HTML and CSS, and later on we'll be studying about the JavaScript. So in the first unit, that is the fundamentals of web, we're going to discuss about what is the internet and what is the WWW, that is World Wide Web. So many of times, whenever we say that World Wide Web and internet, we say that all the things are same, common. But in reality, there is a proper distinction or the proper difference between our internet and our WWW. So we're going to study about what are web browsers, web servers, and how we can write a simple application program on the web. So we are going to discuss about that. So we're going to study about the web browsers, like we have the Mozilla Firefox, Chrome, and Safari. So these are the different web browsers that we have. So whenever we want to write some programs, like in C programming, you might have studied, we require the compiler. Okay, so we'll be using the Genie editor, and we require the compiler, and through that you'll write the program and then you'll execute. But to execute a web application or a web browser, web program, we require the web browsers. So the programs or the scripts that we are going to write, they will be running on the web browser. So you no need to install some extra softwares or any tools are required. If you have a web browser, you can easily write the code and you can execute it. So basically the programs that we're going to write, they will have an extension called as .html. So like in C program, so if the program is like hello world, so it extension will be hello world.c. So similarly in a web program, it will be hello world.html. So we'll be using that. So in the first unit, we are going to study about the theoretical part, that is the web browsers, web servers, and what are URLs. So whenever you are searching something on the internet or you are filling any application form, you require a proper URL, that is gcc.org.bgm or google.com and so on. So how this URL is, what is the basic thing about this URL and why it is required, and then we'll be studying about some protocols. So whenever you are using the internet, you need to follow some guidelines. Okay, so protocols are nothing but the rules. Like we have a traffic rules. So whenever you are going outside, you need to, or whenever you are riding your vehicle or you are taking your vehicle, you need to follow these traffic rules. So similarly, in the internet, there will be a lot of computers will be connected and they will be sharing the information and so on. So to do that, we require some protocols or there are some standards that are being given by the TCP/IP. So we are going to, and the OSM model, so we are going to follow some rules and regulations or the guidelines. We can say those are nothing but the protocols. So we are going to study about these MIME protocol or HTTP hypertext transfer protocol. So these are the basic protocols that are essential to use or to run any web program or a web application. Then we're going to study about the XHTML. Basically, it was HTML earlier, but then we had the extension version, so it is extended HTML. Then we're going to study about the basic syntax and the standard. Like for any programming language, if you consider, it will have a standard structure, or we can say a skeleton. Like for in the C program, starting you will be having the header files, then you will be having int main function, then you will open curly braces, open bracket, close bracket, and then you will declare the variables, then you write the printf and scanf statements, then you require formulas or the logical part and so on. So similar to that, how a HTML program will be. So for that, you will be studying the basic skeleton of it or basic schemata, we can say, and then the tags that are included in this. So in this HTML programming language or the web programming that we are studying, so in this, we are not going to use more logic. Whereas in C programming or Java and so on, we will be studying more on the logical part. Like we'll be using if statement, else, for loops, and so on. Many statements will be using, but here we are not going to use that. I mean, we will be using that, but not right now. We'll be using that in the JavaScript, and that is also very less that is included. We'll be concentrating more on the presentation part. So whenever we have this HTML or a web programming, it is all about how you are going to present your data or how you are going to manage your data on a website or on a web application. So that is how or what all things are included. So like we can have simple text boxes, images, okay, and we can have the tables, forms, and text boxes and so on, labels. So these are the basic tags that we're going to study. So with this angular brackets, whatever is being discussed or what has been mentioned here, all these we call them as the tags. And we'll be having these some buttons. So all these things you might have seen on the web application. We'll be having some text boxes like enter your name and then enter your mobile number, enter your email ID, and then you'll be having a submit button or OK button and so on. So all these things we can develop by using this HTML language. And for that, we are having these different tags. And with the same things, we'll be having some lab programs as well. So that will be in our first unit, we'll be going to study in the first unit. In the second unit, coming to the second unit, we'll be studying about something called as the CSS. That is, we call it as the cascading style sheet. So no doubt we have the buttons, images, and so on. But how to do it in a proper way or how to manage them in a proper way so that we can use some designing part. Like in the website, if a website is a black and white color, or if it is not having any images or it is not looking good properly, then the users are not going to use it. So for that, we'll be using something called as the cascading style sheet. So in that, we're going to study about the levels of different style sheets, different types of inner level, class level, and so on, external style sheet. So all those things we are going to study. That means it includes how a button should look like, or what should be a color of the button, or what should be a size of a text box, and so on. So it is all about the giving some colors or giving some proper animation for the all the elements that are present on the web application or on the website. And also it includes the font properties. What should be the font size? What should be the font type? Okay, whether it should be bold or italic and so on. So all those things we can manage by using this CSS, that is the cascading style sheet, like alignment. And also we're going to see the background images, and then we are going to discuss about something called as the span and div tags. We call this as the division, so that div tags. So all these are included in the CSS. And then going ahead with the third thing is we are going to, in the third unit, we are going to concentrate on the JavaScript. Let me clear this. Java is different from JavaScript. So as the name suggests, JavaScript is a scripting language. Okay, so we're going to study about the basic things about JavaScript, how you can declare the variables and so on. So if you compare the C programming, JavaScript is very, very simple. Why I'm comparing all this? Because you have learned only C. So just if you compare that, C is very compared to the JavaScript, it is little complicated because in JavaScript, the advantage that we have is we don't need to verify which type of data type we will be using for the variables. If I want the integer, just take a variable, declare it, and we can do it. So no need to specify whether it should belong to integer or floating and so on. Whatever value you're going to store in the variable, the same thing will become the data type for that variable. But in C, we need to declare it specifically that it should be the integer, it should be float, it should be long, char, and so on. But in JavaScript, it is not like that. So we're going to study about the basics of JavaScript, and also we're going to study the important part, that is the object-oriented programming. Okay, so object-oriented programming is used everywhere. Like in C++ also we use, in Java also we use, and in many languages we'll be using that. But since you are studying this concept for the first time, we'll be studying about the object-oriented programming, a little bit part of it, and then we're going to study about the different different things that are included in the JavaScript. That is the general syntactic characteristics, primitives, operations and expressions on keyboard operations. Basically, this JavaScript is used for the validation purpose. So let me give a simple example. Consider this as your web application, or you have opened a website, and consider that here you have a text box. Okay, and in this text box, here we can see that this text box, you're going to enter the phone numbers. So whenever you are entering your mobile number, it should always take only 10 digits, not less than 10 or not more than 10. So to do this restriction, or to put this restriction, we use the JavaScript. Not only for this purpose, I'm just giving the example. So this we call it as the validation. So if there is a name field, suppose say that here I say enter your number name. So it should take only the characters. It should not take digits, or it should not take special symbols and so on. So to do this kind of operations, we use basically the JavaScript. So which will be used for the validation purpose. So all these operations, and when you double click on a button, what action should perform? When you just do a single click, what should happen? So to do all this, we use this JavaScript. So in that we have these operations like keyboard input and control statements, object creation and modification. All this we are going to study with related to the JavaScript in the third unit. And then coming to the fourth unit, we are going to study in detail about the event handling. Like if I click on double click, what should happen? Okay, if I enter a value and if I submit it, what should happen? So all this related to arrays, functions, like you have studied in the C programming. Similarly, we are going to study about in JavaScript, how you're going to declare the single dimensional array or two dimensional arrays, how we can write the functions. We have something called as constructors. This is related to the constructor is related to actually the object-oriented programming that we'll be studying, and then the element access in JavaScript, event handling. All these we are going to study with related to the JavaScript. For like in the HTML, the extension for the HTML files will be .html. Similarly, for JavaScript, the extension will be the program name and then followed by the extension JS. So that will be for the JavaScript. Then going ahead with the last unit, we are going to study about something called as the XML, extensible markup language. Again, this is required for the standardizing or for the designing part we will be using this XML. So that is very much brief, because compared to the first and second unit is all about HTML and CSS. Third and fourth unit is all related to the JavaScript. And in the fifth unit, we'll be studying in brief about the XML, and like we have the CSS. Similarly, Excel, in Excel also, XML also, we have something called as style sheets. These are different from the CSS that we are going to study in detail. And for this, we have the reference book that we have is the Programming the World Wide Web 7th edition by the Wesley edition that we have, and the author name is the Robert W. Sebesta. So this is the basic theoretical theory syllabus that we have for this entire subject. And with this, we have the lab programs as well. So I will just open that. So again, the lab is distributed into two sections, section A and section B. In section A, again, we have 6 programs, and section B also will be having 6 programs. And as and when I cover the theoretical part, simultaneously, I will be covering the lab programs as well. Unless and until the regular colleges starts, we do not want to waste the time. And for this web program, you do not require any compiler or any other things. Just if you have a browser, you can run the programs. Okay, even you can write your programs in your mobile phones, and you can run it on your mobiles as well. So it is such a simple thing. So now coming to this, we have the section A, very simple program. Programs are very, very simple, and also learning is also very simple because it doesn't include much of the logical things. Okay, we are not having some logical concepts in this. Just how you can display the elements, or how you can modify those things, that is all included in this. So we have these 6 programs. All these programs are related to the basically HTML and CSS. And then in the second unit, we have the programs related to the JavaScript, and some are related to the XML. So these are the 6 programs. In this JavaScript, we'll be having some programs where we require little formulas, or we require some logical parts, like we have studied in the if statement, else statement. So those things can be used, or those things may be required when we actually start using the JavaScript. Until and unless we start with the JavaScript, logical things are not at all included. So this is the brief introduction about the theoretical and lab syllabus. So I want to make it little more interactive. So can anyone tell me what is or why internet is required, or why we need the connection of computers? Why it is required basically? Or why they designed this network? Earlier, we used to have only the computer system. But later on, they started inventing this when they started focusing more on the networking and then internet and so on. So why this basically is required?
For
To
the
share the information.
Exactly. Can you have a proper way, a proper word for that before sharing the information? We can say that for communication. Okay, like these days we can see that we can communicate from anywhere to anywhere by sitting at our home or by sitting at any place. So basically, the network was started, or the internet, or this was started in the defense system. Okay, in 1960s, you can say, or 1970s. During that time, for the defense purpose, they wanted some technology where they can communicate without going from one place to another place physically. So for that, they started this concept of networking, and later on, there were a lot of innovations, and still we are having continuously there is a research is going on and so on. So in today's class, we'll discuss about what is a network, and then what is a internet, and then we will discuss about the World Wide Web and so on. So we know that the network, I mean, these days we are doing the communication, or the network or the internet is required for the sharing of information or of sharing of resources and so on. So then what is basically a network? When we say a network is a connection of two or more computers. That we call it as a network. In simple terms, consider that we have again in network, we have also a local area network, wide area network, and metropolitan area network, and so on. So consider that in our college or in our lab, we have some 5 computers or 2-3 computers. They are connected to they are connected by a LAN cable. We have something called a LAN cable. Through that they are connected. So this setup we call it as a network. So network means it is a connection of 2 or more computers. That we call it as the network. And to be connected in a network, it is not mandatory or it is not compulsory that we should have an internet connection. Suppose say that these 2 computers are connected, or these all 5 computers are connected. Without the internet connection also, they can share the information or they can share the resources. But the problem will be, or there will be a restriction that they can share the information only for these 5 computers, or the information can be exchanged among only these 5 computers, not outside the boundary of this, because they are connected only within that organization or within by using the local area network. They can share the files, they can do that, but they cannot send a email. Like suppose they want to send a Gmail, I mean they want to send an email and they want to use this Gmail, but it is not possible because they do not have the internet connection. Without internet connection also we can share the information and resources, but it will be restricted to only that particular boundary or only for that particular region. Now the thing is, what if I want to send an email to somewhere else? Like I want to send to the US or somewhere, say Bangalore and so on. So in such situation, we require to have a connection so that my computer is connected directly or my computer is linked to a computer that is present somewhere else on the earth. So for sharing such information, we require this internet. And to use the internet, there are some service providers. We call them as the internet service providers, or we call them as the ISPs. So who are these ISPs? ISPs are nothing but your uh, telecommunication organization like BSNL, Vodafone, and so on. So Airtel, these are the internet service providers. We have to pay some amount on a regular basis, or depending on the data packs that we are purchased. And according to that, they will provide the internet facility. So if you have the internet facility, you can use your Gmail and so on. So now let us say that this is a setup that is present in our college, and consider that this is present in our neighboring college. Consider it as a JSS college. So now if I want to send a information from my college to that college, I cannot send it directly because this is a separate network. This is a separate network, or I can say that this is network 1 and this is network 2. Again, in JSS college, they can send the information or they can share the files and so on among only these 5 computers. But what if they want to transfer some information to our college, or from our college we want to communicate to that college? So in such situations, so to connect these two or to have a bridge between these two networks, we require the internet. So in simple terms, network is a connection of 2 or more computers which is set up for the communication. Similarly, internet is what? Internet is a collection of such networks. I repeat, internet is a collection of networks. So I can have n number of networks. I can have a network in our college. I can have a network in JSS college. I can have a network in somewhere in Bangalore. I can have a network in somewhere in US and so on. So to communicate with all these different networks which are present at different places, or to connect the computers or to communicate with different computers which are present or which are spread over the different regions on the earth, and to share some information, we require this internet. So the connection, the collection of these networks, we call it as the internet. And when we say internet, it requires a lot of other things apart from only our computer system. So it requires somewhere something say that a hub is required, a switch is required, and cables are required, and many other things are required for the internet. So when we are looking into this, we can say that when I say internet, there are some servers that are present.
Hi.
We have some
Hi,
data.
Ganesh.
We can see that there are some servers. We have some mobile operators or mobile phones. We have some database servers. We have, so it doesn't require. I mean, it is not only restricted to only collection of computers and networks and so on. Apart from that, we require the servers and many other things. And now, if you have these all setups, say that I want to send a information or I want to send a email. I have the network, all the computers are connected. I have also the internet connection. Okay, everything is done. But can I send or can I use the internet? Suppose say that you have an internet connection, everything. How you can use the internet now? So if you want to use the internet, what basic software is required? This is all about the hardware that we discussed. To use the internet, we require the computer or we require the laptop or mobile phone and so on. Apart from that, what is required? We require this internet connection. Yes, I have the computer, I have the internet connection and so on. But now if I want to send an email or if I want to send some file, so what is required or what you will do? Can somebody tell me? If you want to send an email, so what you will do? What will be your first task?
So we need an application for that.
What application? Example?
Gmail.
Okay,
Gmail.
exactly, Gmail. So where you open the Gmail? Suppose that you are using in the desktop, where you will use that Gmail? What do you use? We will go to
In
the
browser, sir.
browser, exactly. So even though if you have all the hardware things ready, unless and until you have something called as browser, you cannot access it. Say that I have the internet, everything is done or everything is set up. But if I want to use the internet, how I will use, or if I want to serve something, if I want to search something, what I will do? I will just go to the browser. So browser is a software. So what I want to conclude is whenever we say that www World Wide Web, it is all related to the programs or the applications that you're going to design on this, or you want to make sure that you run an application or you write an application in such a way that which can be executed on the browser. So if I have something on the browser, then only I can access it and I can do anything, or I can send an email and so on. So it is a collection of both hardware as well as the software. If I have the internet connection, well and good. With that, I should also have the application, or that we call as the web browser. So example for the web browsers are like Chrome, your Mozilla Firefox, Internet Explorer. All these are the web browsers. So through these web browsers, we can access the information. And whenever we open the web browser, we have something called as the web address, or we can call as the URL, Uniform Resource Locator. So this will tell you where which information is stored. So if I want to send an email by using the Gmail application, so I need to go to that Gmail website. So what I will do, I will go to this Gmail. So this is what my URL. So if I want to search something, or if I want to purchase something on the Amazon, so I will go to the amazon.com. So we are going to discuss in detail about what is the meaning of .com, or what is the meaning of .in, or what is the form of .co.in or .uk and so on. All those things we are going to discuss in detail, but this will tell that where your information is present. So for all this, to access that, we require something called as servers or database servers, web servers, and so on. So this World Wide Web is not just having a web browser. Behind the scene, we require the web browsers, web servers, and so on. This is about the basic thing about the internet and the web browser. So I will show you a simple program that we have written. Okay. So this is my browser, and I have written a simple program where we can display the date and time and so on, or the condition, temperature, and so on in a tabular form. So this URL indicates that your program is present at this particular path. So this we can call it as the path. So it is present at D drive, second, so on. Because my file is present locally in my system. But when you are actually using the internet, when you are accessing some files, they will be present at somewhere else. They will be present at some computer system or some large computer system that we can call it as the web server. So there the information will be present, and because of that reason, you should type a proper URL. So if you don't type the proper URL, it will not run. So this is all about the URL. So to write a simple program or a application, we'll be using something called as the Notepad, or we can use the Notepad Notepad++. So that is the editor that we'll be using. No, don't worry if you don't have the Notepad++. Even the Notepad is also sufficient. So this is how we are going to write the programs or the scripts in the upcoming classes. So all these we call them as the tags. By using these tags, we are going to write the programs, and these tags are very, very simple, easy to understand. And as I already told, that no much logic is required here. So if you know the basic things, you can easily start writing the programs, and it is very fun to do that because you'll be running all this on the web browsers. So, and whatever changes you make, everything will be highlighted. So, and also removing of the errors, debugging also very simple related to this web programming. Itself. So to do your web applications, we are going to study this, and we will be at the end of the semester, you will be able to write the programs based on this web applications, or you will come to know to do a simple web applications, what basic things are required. All those things will be covered with this different topics.